Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here or if you're not, my name is Natalie and today we are doing another Freaky Friday video. It is the last Friday of October and it just so happens that Halloween falls on a Friday. So obviously you know I had to bring my game for this Freaky Friday. This Freaky Friday video is probably one that I'm close to the most proud of. Maybe not the most, but close to the most. If you guys don't know, Freaky Friday is a series where I turn myself and Bodyswap with a Halloweeny character, creepy character, cute character, but some character every Friday of October. So basically, every Friday of October is Halloween. So the theme for today, as you guys can see, is very black and white. And a character that presents herself mostly only in black because she's allergic to color is Wednesday. But no, I am not doing a Wednesday look because honestly, it would have been pretty easy for me to do and I wanted a challenge and I wanted to bring my best work for you guys on Halloween, October 31st, on a Friday. Freaky Friday. Yes, today I am turning into Tyler Galpin and also the Hyde in one video. I've done a video before where I did two looks in a transformation sort of character where I did Coraline's other mother to the Beldan. So I did two looks in one video and I wanted to do the same for this one. The first half of the video will be Tyler Galpin and the second half of the video will be the Hyde. I'm honestly really proud of this look and so happy that I got to do it because honestly I really love the show. And yeah, let's turn into Tyler Galpin / the Hyde.
So I'll give you a 5-second head start.
Close the windows, lock the door. It's late at night and I hear footsteps on the floor. Blood is freezing in my lips. Well, is it real or is it just October things?
Guys, I'm gonna miss that theme song so much. I can't believe we have to wait a whole nother year to hear that theme song again for the Freaky Friday videos. Anyway, I am starting out with the Tyler Galpin look, as you guys can see. If you do want to see the Hyde look, I think I put a timestamp in the intro, so you can definitely skip to that if you want to watch that instead of this part, but I honestly am really proud of the Tyler Galpin look. A little bit more than the Hyde look, admittedly, but this one looks really good. For this look, honestly, just start out with a foundation base. I used my skin tint from Hourglass and also mixed in... Oops, completely forgot to remove my eyebrows. Anyway, I did that and I also mixed in a little bit of a concealer from... I forgot what it's from, actually. The Born This Way concealer from Too Faced. Yeah, this one. Anyway, I mixed them together to get kind of a lighter shade because the concealer that I bought is a lighter shade and his skin color is just a little bit lighter than mine. Also, this would create more of a contrast in terms of the shading that I do later. I also decided to basically cut off the whole front part of my eyebrow because his eyebrows kind of start farther away than mine do, and his eyes are also hooded, so I also have to start to create that illusion with the shading as well. But it's sort of like the eyebrows are a marker of where the shading starts to begin because the space between his eyebrows and his hooded eyes between from his nose are a little bit farther apart than mine. So in order to create that illusion to copy his face a little bit more, I decided to basically get rid of the whole front part of my eyebrow and also make the shading of my nose slightly different to adjust to his shape of his nose. And so as you can see here, I'm going in with a brown. I usually use this brown for bronzing, so I'm sorry I'm so sniffly. Excuse me. Anyway, I usually use this brown in order to do my bronzing on a normal basis like when I do my regular makeup, but it's like the perfect shade in between where I can start to make where the shadows are supposed to be placed. I also end up basically using a black lipstick in order to cut the sides of my face because my face is significantly rounder than his, and his face is skinty, okay? It's very different than mine, so I end up cutting off basically most of my face because I realized like it just didn't look accurate with my natural face shape. And then I went in with the Danessa Myricks palette to go into a darker shading bronzer color. And this is the point where I started to add more depth to the shading and the shadows of my face because he has a lot more hollows in his face than I do. And by creating like that blank canvas with the foundation, it's similar to just regular makeup, but by creating that blank canvas with the foundation, you can then go in with the bronzer and the blush and the contour to sort of shape your face. And this is the moment where I realized, wow, my face is way rounder than his, so I will end up going in to get rid of, like, basically these parts of my face to make my face look skinnier. And I really try my best to stay as accurate to the photos that I was looking at of his face in the show. I also referenced a few pictures of him during the press tour when they took pictures of him because I noticed in this show his really pretty hair, his really nice curly hair, covers his eyebrows a lot of the time, so I didn't even notice that his eyebrows started farther away than mine did, so I had to look at other reference pictures too, but I tried my best to stay as close to the reference pictures from the show as I could, especially for like that smile pose or the shocked pose that I do later, but it really was important for me to look at a lot of reference photos for his face. So this is the part where I go in with the black liquid lipstick. This is the one that I use in every single video, and honestly, it's starting to dry out, so I don't know what I'm going to do next year. Might have to buy another one. Anyway, I use this liquid lipstick to sort of carve out the sides of my face. I was having issue because obviously if you go in a straight line down your face, your cheek is still round. So when I face forward, you'll still see like this weird round cheekbone lump that he doesn't have. And I try my best to sort of like go in a little bit when it came to my cheeks in order to sort of make it look straighter when I look straight on. It's obviously not perfect. I try my best. But I was trying to imagine the illusion because also his hair covers up a lot of his forehead. So I'm gonna use that to my advantage when I put on the wig to get rid of my ginormous forehead. Literally forehead, okay? But I use the wig in order to compensate for that. And I try my best to copy sort of like the ridges and the shapes of his face the best that I can. Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit about the show while I'm continuing to do this, because right now I'm going with a little bit of black to add a little bit of extra depth. So, about the show. I love the show, guys. I've been watching since season 1. And I think that, like, at least for me anyway, I'm not someone who watches a show because of an attraction towards a character. It's not really my thing. But for me, I loved the show. I love those types of like mystery shows are really my favorite. I love the ones where they're solving a crime. And season 2 really, really hit the spot for me because there were so many things happening at the same time that my mind was like, whoa, wait a minute. I completely forgot about that. Oh my god. They know each other. They're what? And then also the relationships in season 2 were also a little bit weird, but we don't talk about that. Oh, also I decided to add in the detail of his scarring for his face, because in season 2, it's after he's gotten in the fight with Enid and he has a whole bunch of scars on his face, so I decided to keep true to that and try to keep this rendition of Tyler Galpin as close to the way that he is now. At the end of season 2. Anyway, I really like the show. Honestly, I can't wait for another season to come out, which we all know it's gonna be like in a year or 2. That's okay. It is a really good show. Now, Wednesday, in my opinion, if you're trying to compare it to the original creation of the Addams Family and the original idea of the Addams Family, most of the characters don't really fall in line with the personalities and character traits of the original Addams Family characters. They mostly just share names, but I do think that, like, it's a nice homage to the original while simultaneously being a little bit modern. I do think that, like, there are a lot of shows and movies that try to do that and attempt to do that but don't do a super good job. But I do think that, at least for this show, in my opinion, I really like it as is. I like it as a separate rendition of similar forms of the characters that were originally found in the original Addams Family. And that's not to say I don't love the original Addams Family. I love the original characters, the character designs, the character concepts, but I do think that this one, at least for my psychology brain person, as I am, I love thinking and diving a little bit deeper into the idea of what Wednesday and Morticia and Enid or Pugsley even are thinking, and it scratches my brain in a different way, I feel like, but it still gives a really nice homage. Like, Wednesday is allergic to color. Wednesday doesn't really like people like that, but she ends up liking Tyler, that sort of thing. It's kind of something interesting to me in my mind, because I think that my psychology brain, the brain that loves to study the way that people are and observe people, just loves to see that side. But yeah, right now I am tightlining my eyes actually with a lip liner. It is more of a pinky nude lip liner because I notice in a lot of the footage in the show, Tyler actually has quite a bit of pink in his eyes and in his eye bags, so I decided to add that. I ended up deciding to also shorten my upper lip because my lips are a lot thicker than his are, and I wanted to sort of replicate his look as much as I could, so I shortened my top lip and my bottom lip as well with just concealer. It honestly is just basically covering up half of your lip with concealer. It's nothing super complicated, but I didn't end up recording that because it was a last minute decision while I was already in the wig and in the outfit, so I decided not to record that. But I just wanted to explain that that's why the look that you had just seen is slightly different than the look you see now. It's not a big change, just a little one. But yeah. Hey guys, this is the final look for the first part. So this is the actual Tyler Galpin form. I had to thin out my face quite a bit because his face is skinny and my face is round. But I feel like I did a pretty good job. I don't usually do like more realistic looking face things. I've done the Jinx look and I've done Dr. Frankenfurter look, but I've never done like a normal person looking person. And so I feel like I did a pretty good job with all things considered. Ignore my ears. And also, ignore the fact that my eye color is different than his, okay? I'm fully aware. I did not have enough money in the budget to also buy contacts just for the regular version of him and also for the monster version of him. There's too many looks with contact. Anyway, let's turn from this to...
So I'll give you a 5-second head start.
Okay, so of course, when I said that I did not spend the money to get contacts for the Tyler Galpin regular look, of course, coincidentally, I cannot find the contacts that I bought for the Hyde. Which is kind of frustrating because the contacts definitely help make the look, but I cannot seem to find them, so I think there's a possibility I might have accidentally thrown them away. But I'm hoping that I didn't, because I don't think that I threw them away. Okay, back to my voiceover. Hey, voiceover Net again. So now we are turning into the Hyde version of this look. This was definitely a trust the process look. If I'm being entirely honest with you, I think about like halfway or even a quarter way through, I really just wanted to wipe it all off and start over and re-record on another day and get a new bald cap and everything, but I ended up sticking through, and I honestly think that it turned out pretty okay for all things considered. So to start, obviously, I could not find my contacts. It's kind of a bummer because I did end up finding it after, like, the next day, and it's whatever. I do think that the way that it turned out would have been equally or maybe worse than the way that it turned out, so honestly, it might have been actually a good thing that I couldn't find the contacts. I'll use those contacts at a later date for something else, probably, or just use it next year. The process of drying is crazy for these bald caps, but I do think that I'm improving at them, so that's a positive. And hopefully next year I'll be even better. Maybe I'll become Aang. Oh, by the way, I just finished watching Avatar, The Last Airbender. I really liked it. Just waiting a little longer. Anyway, I really liked it. Maybe I might actually do that. I don't know. But, yeah, I am currently cutting the bald cap. The process for the bald cap is the same every single time. I'm just getting better at it. Better and better every day. But the instructions are inside of the Mayron bald cap box. But I kind of just go about it the same way that the instructions say and have learned since the first time I've done it, and I have been continuing to improve. But anyway, I decided to do a bald cap for this look because the Hyde doesn't really have like a full head of hair, and I also ended up just scrapping any possible idea of hair on the Hyde's head. I think that like if I had more time and had thought it through a little bit more, I could have done the hair for the Hyde, like his little wispies, but I ended up just saying no to it because the truth is like the look itself didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. It turned out good in terms of illusions, but simultaneously I think there were still missing parts that in terms of my homage to the original form, it didn't hit the mark quite right. At least in my perfectionist eyes. So then I started to powder and set everything, and then from there I could start the actual face paint. This powder is crazy, guys. I will not be touching this powder other than for these Freaky Friday videos because it literally goes everywhere, up my nose, up in the air. Oh, sorry. And it's definitely not healthy for me. Yet I still use it because I bought it and I don't want to waste it. Anyway, I went in with this gray toned, it's like a blue-gray toned face paint from Mayron, but it turned out to be more like regular gray than blue-gray than I wanted, but I decided to just move forward, and I started to use the black liquid lipstick in order to do the details, and my approach to this look, I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do because there was a part of me that was like, maybe I could do a 3D component to make his eyes bulge out or shape my head differently to look like him. But then instead I decided to just go for the illusion route, which is the route that I'm best at and I really like to do, so I decided to go with the illusion route. In the illusion route, I moved his nose up to here because his mouth is quite large, and I put his nose up here, and his eyes are ginormous on my head. And additionally, in most of the scenarios where the Hyde shows up, it is quite dark, so there will be a lot of shadows on my face, and those shadows will have to be done with the liquid lipstick. So at certain points, you'll see there will be a lot of black on my face, and that's just a lot of shadowing. I end up going in again later with a light blue in order to add more color because honestly this blue-gray was just not doing it for me because like his skin the skin of the monster is like kind of a blue-gray but also like light blue in certain lights, and I really wanted to give homage to that. It's just the color wasn't the color I thought it would be. And the way it's looking right now is like super muddy because the way that my liquid lipstick was mixing in with the face paint it was like blending out way too much because it was too creamy. And so for me anyway, it was just having a really hard time actually having any real definition in the lines and in the shading like I normally like it to be. And honestly, at this point, I genuinely was contemplating just starting over, but I knew that I should probably just work with it because this is a hard look, and I wanted it to turn out a specific way. I had an image in my mind, but it wasn't going the way that I wanted. But I think that, like, this really is a testament to my perfectionism. I do think that at times when things don't turn out the way that I want them to, when I first try, I have a tendency to just want to quit. And I try my best not to do that because I wanted to get this video out for you guys. I wanted to get this done. Not just because I just wanted to get it over with, but because I wanted to, like, actually produce something and give myself a chance, because my perfectionism sometimes gets in the way and I end up not trying. So I wanted to give myself the opportunity to improve it. So as you can see right now, I'm going in with the white Mayron face paint. It's also in the stick form. This one is also quite creamy, but it does work well on top of the other Mayron product. I do think that, like, if you're someone who has fairly sensitive skin and you break out easily, I don't suggest using Mayron, because as much as I do like Mayron, it's quite oily and it can cause breakouts in your skin if you have sensitive skin. So I don't suggest it if you are someone who does. And also, it is a bit hard to work with because it kind of just, everything just blends together too much. I did like the Glisten Cosmetics face, like, foundation, like the color foundation's way better. If I'm being honest with you, I wanted to buy those again this year because the ones I had for last year had dried out, but I couldn't get them because I think maybe they don't ship to here anymore. I'm not sure, but I couldn't get my hands on them and I couldn't buy them for some reason. I'm not sure. But as you guys can see, I'm adding in little extra details, shading, and trying to mix the colors together. At this point, I'm also trying to put in the teeth. I wasn't fully convinced that this look was working yet because, again, additionally, my nose was just staring me in the face because obviously I made a new nose, but my nostrils are there. Can't make my nostrils not be there. And there's just two dark circles in the spot that's supposed to be inside the mouth, so it's just like, it was messing with my brain a little bit because I was like, this does not look right. But I started to improve it a little bit more, and once I started to add in this velvet liquid lipstick, the pink, or the reddish nudish pink, it started to come together a little bit more because adding in the color really made it have more life and it didn't look crazy, you know what I mean? So adding in the color, his eyes also, when he's a Hyde, also has a little bit of pink, similar to the way that he is when he's human. And I also added it in his little dot pupils because I didn't have contacts. And I went in with the black liquid lipstick in order to fill in the outer sides of the face in order to shape the face similarly to the Hyde's face. And I also added extra shading to the top of his head as well. This was really just a lot of trusting the process and working in the colors, working in the darks and then the lights and then the darks and then the lights in order to get more dimension, because the way that they were mixing together was just kind of fading out and it didn't have any distinct shadowing. And one of the important things about creating any of these looks or even drawing is to have soft shadows and harsh shadows in order to create more of that 3D illusion. And it just didn't have that at first. But yeah. From there, I started to add in the light blue. This one is not Mayron. I think it's called Makeling. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. But, you know, you saw it on the screen. But this one really brought it together, in my opinion, because in the photo I was looking at for the Hyde, he was backlit by the moon, I believe, and his skin, like, had this, like, nice light blue glisten, and that's what I was searching for in the blue-gray, but I wasn't getting, and it wasn't coming through. So from there I decided to add in just a straight light blue in order to sort of portray that backlit blue light that was showing in the image. And from there, just a little cleanup on the eyes, because when I opened my eyes, the pupils were blending away. And yeah, that would be the end of the look. Honestly, I think it came together. I had a lot of negative things to say while I was doing it, but it came together.
So I'll give you a 5-second head start.
This is the final look, guys, and yeah. It turned out a lot less, like, I guess impactful than I had hoped, because the truth is, like, this gray is supposed to be like a bluish gray. For some reason, it was coming off more just gray. So then I had to add in the light blue, which honestly I think pulled it together, but I don't know. I feel like it's cool. I like it, but also, like, I don't know. But honestly, I think it looks pretty good and it works, you know? Oh, by the way, I'm still wearing clothes. I'm just wearing a tube top. Yeah, I also could not for the life of me figure out how to do the, like, wispy hair, so I just kind of was like, whatever, I'm just not gonna do it. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This is the end of this video, and since there were 2 looks in this video, I think that I'm honestly going to keep this outro pretty short. This is definitely my favorite time of the year. Sad to say that today is the last day of October and also the last Freaky Friday for this year. I liked what I did with the Tyler Galpin look a little bit better, and I think that I honestly killed doing just the regular Tyler Galpin look. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys again next year. And if you like my content other than obviously these weird freaky transformations, then definitely stick around, because I definitely do other videos like gaming, makeup videos, like regular makeup. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stick around, watch my regular posting days, which are Saturday, and also check out my other Freaky Friday videos if you haven't, and I'll see you guys again next year. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, thank you for watching. Good morning, good night, goodbye.
One of the many perks of this wonderful assignment.
Actually, here for Tyler.
You rang?
The